How many years have you been on CPAP therapy?
Unfortunately, too many to remember, but I would say less than 10.
Less than 10 years?
Yeah.
Do you use your CPAP equipment every night?
I should, but I don't. And what's interesting is when I first got on the CPAP, I remember I went for a checkup and the nurse said, "Have you been using your CPAP?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Oh, okay, I guess you want your heart to work double or triple." And she just walked off. And that Jedi mind trick that she pulled on me, I was just like, "Oh, I don't want that." So I'm about 90% consistently using the CPAP. It's just uncomfortable for me. I don't like having anything on my face.
Of course.
But I feel when I don't use it, I don't get a good night's sleep.
Of course. Now, when you started using it 90%, do you notice a difference at all in your performance? Because you told me earlier that you work out. Have you noticed a difference with your energy levels or working out at all, or not really?
Probably nothing discernible, but probably the reason why I say it like that is because I'm not paying attention to it. So I'm probably noticing a difference, but I'm just not paying attention or acknowledging it. But also because I'm stubborn, I don't want to give the CPAP all that much credit.
Okay, and I noticed you're buying new equipment today. What equipment are you currently using?
Well, I have this headgear and...
Okay, so that's the ResMed AirFit N20. How long have you been using that mask for?
Well, interestingly enough, this is probably like my 7th or 8th mask change.
Okay.
Because I toss and turn a lot. And maybe because of the lack of the fit, but from my understanding, when you use a CPAP, you're not supposed to be turning, or you're supposed to be in more of a deep sleep. Yeah. So sometimes when I put them on, it's uncomfortable. So I'm always checking and changing different mask sizes and different configurations just to find the one that's ideal for me.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm always going to know it's on. So I can't escape that. And actually, I'm replacing this mask, this ResMed.
You're replacing the ResMed N20. Okay.
Yep. And
before we go into the replacement, what's the good and the bad with the N20? What would you say?
I don't have it necessarily good or bad. I mean, I have to wear it, but I think it's less irritation around my nose.
Okay.
And again, that's another reason why I try different models and configurations. So I'm changing it and I'm replacing it with the same model, but I'm also changing something else, something that goes in the nostrils, which historically I don't like that feel because it irritates the inside of my nostrils. But you guys have different models, and that's why I like coming here, because you guys have a lot of different options.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And you're very helpful too, to be honest. Very helpful. You answer all my questions, and I think it helps that you use a CPAP too, so you're very familiar with the products and the whole process. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try this configuration and see how it works. But every time I come in, I usually get a different mask.
Okay, and why don't we show the viewers what mask you're getting? So you came over to the Fisher and Paykel line here.
Yep. And this is the one I'm getting that's
okay.
Going to go right in the nostrils and see if that.
So this is the Brevida, and what's nice with this is when you do hook it up to your CPAP machine, these will inflate to your nostrils, where they're not a fixed plastic, where it's less likely to irritate the inside of your nostrils. So hopefully it'll be a good change. This is the first time you're going to be using this mask?
Yep, very first time tonight.
The other thing it has too is an air diffuser here, so that'll silence the exhalation air coming out of that. So it'll be a little more quiet for you.
Okay, I think I might have had one, but it might have fell off. I might have lost
the one for this. The N20 does not have an air diffuser.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, so the good thing about all the different options is if I don't like it, I just, I force myself through it, but I know that at a certain point in time I'm going to come and I'm going to try something different and try something else. So it's just like, okay, I can, use it for.
And I do the same thing you do, is that I don't use the same mask all the time. I'll use a full face and I'll go to a hybrid and I'll go back and forth. And I tell people that's okay, because sometimes people think they're married to that one mask, and once it starts bothering them or they don't like it anymore, they can't sleep with it on. Try a different mask, because it's a different feeling. You may be more comfortable with that, and maybe you go back and forth.
And that's a great point you raised, because initially when I first started, I started with a full face mask like this. But I didn't. It kind of like left waking up in the morning like a ring around my face. I think it was like aging me, for crying out loud, when I was using it. And it also left irritation marks and stuff on my face. So I had
wow.
extra moisturize to kind of like, combat that.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna go back to the full face mask. I'm gonna kind of stick with this configuration.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna see how this one works
So
going forward.
So maybe go back and forth from the N20 to the Brevida.
Yep. Now I say that now, and then 6 months from now I might be back in with a full headgear. So
Of course, you never know. One question I do want to ask you is that do you ever open your mouth at night where you lose air pressure from the nasal mask, or does your mouth remain closed?
it remains closed because when I open my mouth, I feel and hear the air suction going on, so that will immediately wake me up.
Okay.
So I'm cognizant to know that I got to close my mouth, and for the most part, I keep my mouth closed. But one of the things I realize that I need a mouth guard, because I grind my teeth.
Oh wow, okay.
And sometimes that wakes me up too, and I had a mouth guard, and I don't know what I did with it. But
All right. Last question for you.
okay, hit me.
Half the people that start CPAP therapy, they give up because they can't get used to it. For whatever reason, it's uncomfortable. And you said earlier that it took a second time. Do you want your heart to work twice as hard? You told me the nurse said to you. What advice would you give to those people as somebody who struggled to get used to it from day one?
Listen, life is hard. Everything's not easy.
Yep.
When she told me that your heart's working twice as hard, that's not a good thing. And I plan on being around for a long time. And if I can minimize extra or undue stress by wearing this damn mask, then I'm gonna wear it. If I can eat my lima beans and my vegetables, well, not the lima beans, but if I can eat my vegetables, I can do this. So I would just say, weigh the benefits of wearing it versus not wearing it. Because when you're in a deep sleep, you really don't know anything anyways. Yep. But when I don't wear the mask, I have a horrible day the next day. I'm tired, somewhat restless. I'm not fully rested, and I get anxious, and it's just my energy levels are down for the day. And I know it's because of the mask, because I try to rationalize or look for other excuses. Oh, it's not the mask, it's not the mask. But as I'm checking the boxes of, well, it's not this, it's not this, it's not that, the last thing that's left is the mask. So I force myself to wear the mask. And don't get me wrong, I do not like wearing the CPAP mask. I think it's uncomfortable. I think it impedes with my being able to move when I'm sleeping, and I can make up a whole other bunch of excuses that really don't mean anything, but they're just excuses. But I know the benefit of wearing this outweighs any kind of discomfort that I may have, so I suck it up.
All right, great. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate the video.
You're welcome.